Hey, what's up, guys? This is John from TheUndercoverBrony, and I am here with one of the most incredible metal bronies in the fandom, the L Train. How are you today, good sir?
G'day, I'm alright, thank you very much.
Wonderful. So the first question I have for you is something that we ask everyone, and it's always such a fun question. What is your brony story? How did you get into the fandom?
So, when was it? It would have been, I want to say late 2011, early 2012. So I say used to, but I still do, read a lot of web comics. And there was a period around, it would have been end of 2011, where just suddenly brony stuff just sort of appeared all over online, particularly on a bunch of comics I follow, but just all over the place online. And I'm like, what is going on with this show? Why is it everywhere? So I decided to check it out. I acquired the first season. I'm Australian, so that's how we normally watch stuff. And watched the first season, binged it pretty rapidly, and then from there I was pretty hooked.
Awesome. Next question I have for you is, what is the DAW and plugins that you use for your recording, mixing, mastering, that sort of thing?
Oh wow. So up until a couple of years ago, it is actually a couple of years ago now, I was using Pro Tools, but I've since switched to Reaper. So my main DAW is Reaper, and I have way too many plugins to really list. What am I mostly using? What am I using at the moment? I should bring up my list. At the moment, I'm mostly using... so for guitar stuff, I'm using Bias FX at the moment. And drums, it's... what am I using for drums? Superior Drummer 2, actually. I haven't upgraded to 3. I've heard bad things about 3, but I don't know. And I have, too many things for orchestral stuff, but also Piano Tech for piano things, which I don't do a lot of piano these days, but that's a very fun plugin. So
very cool. Next question I have for you is, you've done a lot of solo work in terms of either remixes or original songs. What has been some of your favorites or least favorites that you've done?
Oh, wow. Probably some of the sort of remixes, I guess you'd call them. I'm not really an electronic guy, so remix kind of sounds like the wrong word, but I guess it's true.
Well, then metal cover probably would work better.
Yeah, I guess you call it. What's the one I'm thinking of? There was one I did. There's a couple of songs I've done where I've done like a weird, stupidly low-tuned metal version. Actually, Sound Barrier, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did a cover of that using, I think it was 8-string guitar or something ridiculous, and it actually turned out really well. And I think I did a similar thing, like a couple of years before that, with what was the song? Endless Mist of Nightmares, where that was actually a proper remix because I used the original vocals, and that just turned out so different from the original, and I was very pleased with that. So that's one of my things with covers, actually. If someone does a cover and it just kind of sounds like the original, my thinking is always, so what? Why did you do that? What did you achieve? So whenever I do a cover or a remix or something, I try to put my own spin on it and make it very different from the original. And sometimes I even succeed.
Now, funnily enough, Sound Barrier and Endless Mist of Nightmares. Well, first off, Sound Barrier is one of my favorites of yours in terms of the solo music. And Endless Mist of Nightmares was actually the first song that I heard from you that got me hooked into your music. So it's kind of interesting. What is your favorite thing about making pony music, and especially using metal to incorporate into your music?
Well, just pony music in general. I think the best thing about it is the fandom and the community. So I've always found everyone's so supportive and very encouraging of everyone doing music and trying different things. Everyone's so willing to lend advice and collaborate, and that's always been my favorite aspect doing pony music, I guess. In terms of metal, I just like metal, but it's not very deep.
Well, hey, everyone's got to have something, and metal's definitely one of those interesting genres to explore. My next question for you is, you have a collaborative effort that is known as the Royal Canterlot Symphonic Metal Orchestra. Can you explain how that kind of came to be in terms of able to start making collaborations like that?
Yeah, so that started, that's like 5 years ago now. No, even older. Wow. Now I'm making myself feel old. No, it is actually 5 years ago. So I kind of started on the whole epic metal thing pretty much when I joined the fandom, actually. And I was sort of thinking, where can I take this? What can I do with this genre and with the fandom? I was mostly just looking for something to create, which I could expand upon what I was already doing. So I was thinking, well, what if I do some sort of epic story, make it a bit of an opera or something? So the first thing that came to mind is, well, the show has this deep lore, which kind of gets, it doesn't treat its lore very respectfully, actually. Kind of every writer adds something else and ignores something else. But anyway, so basically I took the story from the very first episode with Celestia and Luna, and the betrayal and the Nightmare Moon and all that stuff, and thought, well, what if I make this sort of like an epic opera, rock opera, metal opera sort of thing? And then I was thinking, well, I'd need to get someone else to do lyrics because I'm bad at lyrics, and then get singers, and so I think I just recruited. It was mostly just through my YouTube channel. I was just posting videos saying, hey, I'm looking for people to help me with this and this. So this was in the before times. This was Skype days, Discord, pre-Discord days. There weren't helpful Discord servers you could just go to and be like, I'm looking for collaborators for doing X and Y and Z. You couldn't do it back 5 years ago. So I was just posting videos and asking people to send me their stuff if they wanted to be involved, and for some reason, several dozen people replied. I'm like, okay, I guess this is a thing now, and it's sort of kept going, so that's good.
Now, if you'll just indulge me for a moment, I do want to gush a little bit about Moonrise, because again, it's one of those things that I've listened to it quite a few times. It's really a powerful opera, and one of the things that I noticed is in movement 2, when you have the chorus and talking about the sisters ruling in unison or harmony, it sounded quite a bit like Dragon Force in a way. Was that something that came across your mind when you were recording that?
No, not really. I'm going to make a confession here. I kind of dislike Dragon Force.
Okay.
No, Dragon Force are cool, but I kind of don't want to be like them, if that makes sense. Scene 2, I was kind of doing the epic power metal thing, but I wasn't specifically thinking of Dragon Force. I was thinking more of sort of other bands I might listen to. A lot of Symphony X there, actually.
Okay.
Kind of my main influence in terms of that sort of style of song. Yeah, I guess Skybolt, so he was the lyricist. Yeah, I guess he picked up on that and kind of ran with it with the lyrics there, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't specifically Dragon Force. Especially, I think newer Dragon Force has improved, but if you're thinking 2013 Dragon Force, their lyrics were kind of horrible. So
yeah, that was just the closest thing I could think of in terms of how it sounded to me. One of the other things that I love about Moonrise is that in movement 4, the Lunar March, it reminds me so much of that scene in Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin and the clone troopers are going into the Jedi Temple for the slaughter, and that just the way it sounded just reminded me very much of that. And also, it has one of the best guitar solos of your entire catalog. The one near the end of the song, the ending riff that goes into the actual battle of Movement 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, because that riff at the very start of that song, well, it's most of the song actually, that's a really fun riff to play. Unfortunately, I've never played that song live. Anyway.
In all honesty, if you could get an actual orchestra and a choir to actually come on and do that, that would be, like, I know that's like way a far-fetched idea, but that would be like incredible right there to actually do a live performance of Moonrise.
Yeah, that's the dream, but it's probably, I'll be honest, it's probably never going to happen because there's just so much logistics you'd have to deal with. Especially me living like on the opposite end of the world to like most of the people who've contributed to the Royal Camelot Symphonic Orchestra. It's just difficult. I've done a couple of live things with it, but not anything sort of substantial and doing not as grand as you might imagine. So yeah.
Now, one thing that I've noticed, and you were talking about Skybolt being your lyricist. Now, with the three that you've done, which is Moonrise, Fall of the Empire, and the one that most recently came out, which is the part 1 of the Pillars of Equestria. One thing I have to wonder, does Skybolt actually write fan fiction? Because some of the stuff that he puts into, especially with Fall of the Empire, is just genius in terms of how he writes things out.
I don't actually know. I know he does a lot of Fallout Equestria stuff, which I don't really follow because I don't really do the whole Fallout Equestria thing. I don't know if he writes fanfic though. It wouldn't surprise me if he does actually.
Yeah, because I mean the whole thing with Fall of the Empire was, Sombra becoming a wise king, inheriting the throne, and wanting a wife by his side, and then figuring Luna would have been the best bet. Because it's
yeah,
and having the deeper meaning of continued harmony between Equestria and the Crystal Empire, and also having the budding romance there. That was it was genius in all honesty.
Yeah, so that pretty much all of the story stuff there was just Skybolt. Yeah, it was just it was a couple of months of he and I throwing ideas back and forth, but pretty much all of the ideas came from him in terms of the storyline and which sort of what story beats, I guess you'd call them. We wanted to hit, and it does kind of read like fanfic if you kind of put it in that a little bit. So I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does have has several million words of fanfic hidden in some account in the dark recesses of the internet somewhere. That would not surprise me at all.
So the final question I have for you is, do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
Shout-outs? Oh man, I will give a shout-out to my man Francis Vase. So he was in Pillars of Equestria, and he was also in the choir for Fall of an Empire. So he's been doing a bunch of things lately, and just recently his collab with Quicksilver. So they have this ska band called Lunatics, and they just started releasing stuff again. So that's my shout out for today. Listen to Lunatics.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much, L Train, for coming on. This was a blast to talk to you and get to know a little bit more about your music making process and how kind of behind the scenes of everything.
No worries.
As always, that's it from me, John.
And I'm L Train, and thank you for listening.